Alright, so for today's video, we'll be concentrating on ride-hailing companies and their contribution to climate pollution. For the two companies that we'll be focusing on today, we're focusing on Uber as well as Lyft. Uber first jumped into the scene in 2010, and to start this off, it's important to mention that these two companies, Uber and Lyft, are very relatable to me because I am a college student and first going to college in 2016. I first these two companies became a part of my life and using them to go to the store, go to other locations, maybe visiting friends. Um, they've been a very they've been a very useful part of my college career. Again, Uber first jumped into the scene in 2010, and as of 2018, they've accumulated more than 10 billion rides globally. Lyft has accumulated about 1 billion trips globally. For in terms of the cities, they in New York, out rail ride-hailing companies outnumber taxis to by two to one in New York City again, and in cities such as San Francisco, they outnumber the taxis from 12 to 1 according to the SFCTA. It also mentions in the article that the rapid growth of ride-hailing companies has presented a big problem for climate pollution. Ride-hailing companies have resulted in 69% more climate pollution on average than the trips they displace. And again, even though these two categories do between taxis and ride-hailing companies do conflict, there are some similarities, which are that ride-hailing companies do compete for riders as do taxis. Because in apps such as Uber, you have to try and get more riders to increase your rating up. The higher the rating, the better. I believe the better you get paid. Um, Also, the big main differences between the two are that cities have more regulation over taxis, as they've done for decades, whereas ride-hailing doesn't. They don't, as due to the fact that they jumped into the scene a couple of years ago. The companies that do own the companies that are in charge of these ride-hailing, um, are less regulated. They do not try to focus more on what vehicle is used, as long as the driver has a vehicle and can transport from one location to another. Um, some cities have asked taxi owners to convert to more hybrid vehicles, which is good for the environment as it does allude to more environmentally friendly riders maybe, and it also helps out with the carbon footprint that the cities leave behind. And ever since 2016, taxi use have been on the decline as ride-hailing has entered the market. Typically, ride-hailing emits about 69 more emission than a displayed trip, whereas an electric ride-hailing trip emits 52% less emission than a displayed trip. So, as the studies have shown, it's more beneficial for ride-hailing companies to try and allude to more hybrid or electric-friendly vehicles. Um, and again, in the article, it mentions some solutions that ride-hailing companies can take, either increase the pooling options, share data and collaboration with cities so that it can emit less carbon, um, provide more electric ride hailing for people, and on the same part as the ride hailing companies, cities can also contribute to try and make sure they, rather than compete, they work together. They can invest in mass transit infrastructure for working and biking, enact policies to electrify the ride hailing industry, to enable smart local decision making with supportive federal policies, encourage carpooling as well. Um, Again, these are very, very, especially to most college students, these are issues these are things that can be very much relatable. It was very interesting for me to come through and learn more about this, as I did question how Uber and Lyft have impacted the taxi industry and the environment. Um, and it's very interesting to see that it's more. There are some positives in terms of providing more variability for the riders, but there are also some negatives as well, as it does impact our environment in a negative way.